All right. Well, hello, English 111 students. We are in week 11 of our class. I can't believe it. And here we are. Here we are. We are done with Essay 2 of only 4 essays. We're already in Essay 3. We've completed Quiz 5 of only 8 quizzes. We are coming to a close quickly, folks. And I say that because, and you've heard me say this before, but I'll say it again, don't get behind. I don't want to see anyone get behind. It's going to be easy to get behind at this point because things are going to start to pick up. Not just in this class, but any other classes you're taking. And as you know, once you get behind, it's so very difficult to catch up. So stay the course in our course. Don't let your guard down and continue to complete the assignments on time. Continue to drive forward. I just don't want to see anyone struggle at the end or get a low grade or failing grade because they fail to turn in assignments because they fail to plan appropriately. So again, keep your academic guard up. Keep turning your assignments in on time. Keep reaching out to me if you need me with questions or concerns. I'm here to help you, okay? I want this journey to be a good one for you. All right, this week, which is week 11, November 2nd through the 8th, you are going to turn in one simple thing, and that's discussion board number 3. Don't forget to do that discussion board and your reply to your peer. But that's going to be due by the end of the week, by November 8th. And easy assignment. I don't intend the discussion boards to be difficult assignments. So I hope this is an easier week for you. As far as assignments go, you only have to read chapter 11 in the textbook. It should be a great, more relaxing week for you, I hope, and a week where you can just take a breath in preparation for the next couple weeks, where you're going to be completing the rough draft and then the final essay for essay number 3. Okay, all right. This week, we're going to be talking about arguments of causation. We've talked about arguments of fact, arguments of definition, and arguments of evaluation so far. This week is our 4th type of argument, which is the argument of causation. I also want to talk briefly this week about removing the first person, removing I from your writing, and also a little bit about description in your writing. Okay, so we're going to jump right in here, and let's get started. All right, arguments of causation. What is an argument of causation? Well, it's very simply an argument that examines causes and or effects. It looks at what are the causes of some effect that we know about, or what are the effects of some cause that we know about. Okay? So we start with a cause and we say, what are the effects that could come of this? If this were to happen, what else could happen? What are the effects from this? Or we see an effect and we say, hey, what are the potential causes of this? Either way, whether we're going forward or backward in this argument from cause to effect or effect to cause, it's still called an argument of causation. We'll get into this in more detail. I think you'll understand it here in a minute. There's different categories of arguments of causation. Again, those are arguments that state the cause and then examine effects, or arguments that state an argument that states the effect and then examines the causes, or an argument that shows a series of links. So A goes to B, and then B goes to C, and then C goes to D, etc., etc. Okay, so any of these types of arguments are arguments of causation. Now, let's choose a partner. You don't have to do that because you're online. Again, I'm adapting these slides from a residential course, but don't choose a partner. But I do want you to do this exercise. For each of the following things, I want you to pause this recording and name as many effects as you can, right, if these things were to occur. So what I'm giving you are causes, and I want you to say, okay, if this were to happen, this is the cause, what would the potential effects be? So just make some notes, do 3 or 4 things for each one. If Virginia were to raise its sales tax, what are some things that would happen? If the U.S. were to build a wall around the U.S.-Mexican border, what are some things that would happen? If a dirty bomb were to be detonated in New York City, what are some of the effects? So go ahead and pause, make your list, and then come back in just a minute. Okay, I hope you made your list. So, just going to throw a few things out for each one. just ideas that I have real quick. But for example, Virginia were to raise its sales tax. Well, if Virginia were to raise its sales tax, what are some things that would happen? Well, one thing is that people could stop buying as much, right? So they're not going to buy as many consumer products because they got to pay more. So that maybe is one effect. If Virginia were to raise its sales tax, the population, maybe for that same reason, might become a little distrustful or might garner a little bit of distaste for their legislatures, for government officials. That might be something else. But there's a positive. There could be some positive effects, right? Maybe raise your sales tax. Maybe you should put more money towards education, or roads, or other government services, right? So you see what I'm saying. You just list what are some of the effects if this were to happen. All right, number 2 there. The U.S. were to build a wall around the U.S.-Mexican border. Well, maybe a positive effect would be it would limit illegal immigration. Maybe some negative effects would be that it would create a wall around our country and give the impression that we don't welcome people. Maybe it would hurt U.S.-Mexican relations. Maybe it would cost way too much money and the U.S. would go into deeper debt. So you see, those are some of the effects of that cause. Finally, the third one there, a dirty bomb were to be detonated in New York City. Number 1, a lot of people could be killed. That's one effect. Number 2, it could generate fear among the populace. That's something else. It could create radiation fallout that could cause problems for many generations into the future. Number 4, it could cause security measures in the United States to increase dramatically, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You get the idea. We start with a cause and we talk about the different effects. Okay? Do this. This is in the opposite direction, okay? Do this exercise. I'm going to ask you to pause in a minute and do this. So for each of the following effects, I'm going to give you some effects. Name as many potential causes as you can, okay? So we're going backwards in this. I'm giving you the effect, and now you're going to say, hey, here's some potential causes for this. So decline in family cohesion in America, the rise of obesity in America, the increase of incidences of depression in America. What are some potential causes of these things? So go ahead and pause this recording and then come back in a minute with your list. Okay, I hope you did this. The decline in family cohesion in America. What are some of the causes of this? Well, maybe some people would say, well, the causes could be a decline in family cohesion. Cause could be decline in religious faith groups and adherence to religious faiths, right? Maybe that's a cause of decline of family cohesion in America. Maybe it's that people are too busy now, right? We're all live very hectic lives. Maybe that's part of it. Third, maybe the value of the family has gone down in our culture for whatever reasons, right? Maybe we're not as close and don't value as a culture, as a society, family as much as we used to. So, right, those are some of the causes, right? Maybe of decline in family cohesion in America. What about the rise of obesity in America? What are some of the causes of that? Well, maybe we could say processed foods are one of the causes of the rise of obesity. Maybe less self-restraint could be a cause of obesity in America. Maybe we've become a more gluttonous culture in America. Maybe there's been a rise in the caloric intake of the individual that's caused more obesity in America. It could be a million different things, right? So, but these are just potential causes. We're going from effect to cause, as we are in number 3, where we call the increase in the incidences of depression in America. Maybe one cause of that is we're overworked. So we're doing too much and trying to do too many things. Number 2, maybe we're not as resilient of a culture anymore. We're not teaching our children resiliency anymore. Maybe lack of faith adherence could be a cause of that. So you see, we're just coming up with potential causes. And by the way, these are just things I'm pulling off the top of my head. So I'm not saying these are the things. Any of these causes or effects that I've articulated here are the things I believe. Some may be, some may not. They're just ideas I threw out on the table, and they're just for illustration purposes. Okay, so you may have different lists. That's great. That's fine. Your list is probably better than mine anyway, okay, because you took some time to think about it. All right, so anyway, You get the idea, though. We start with the cause. What are the effects? We start with the effect. What are the potential causes? What are some of the characteristics of arguments of causation? They're often part of other arguments. They do stand alone, but they can be part of other arguments. They're often very complex, as you can probably imagine, as are all of our types of arguments, right? They're often definition-based. I won't go into a lot of detail there, but they are often definition-based. And here's the one I really want to hit on. They yield probable instead of absolute conclusions. When we're going saying, hey, here are the effects of this cause, or here are the potential causes for this effect, we don't know if those are the actual effects. We don't know if those are the actual causes. So we're dealing in probabilities, not in absolutes. Okay, so just remember that whenever you're writing an argument of causation. You can't say 100% for sure that this is the cause, or that it's 100% for sure that these are the effects. But you can say these are the probable causes, these are the probable effects. Just remember that. That's the main point I wanted to make on this slide. So how do you write an argument of causation? Well, you decide if you're studying a cause or an effect, right? That's number one. And then you list all the potential causes for your effect, or all the potential effects for your cause. Just list them out. Don't just brainstorm. Don't think too much about them. Just list them out. I would like to move that second to last point up. After you've done all your potential causes or all potential effects, then go ahead and create your main points. What are the three causes, or what are the three effects that you're going to talk about in your paper? Go ahead and take those and write them down. Those would be the strongest effects or the strongest causes that you have. Then go ahead and develop your thesis statement. Once you've developed your thesis statement, as we've said in all the other three arguments, then you go ahead and do your research, get down and dirty in your research, get all your sources, make your notes, etc. Then go back and revise your thesis statement if you need to, with those qualifiers or additions or deletions or whatever you need to do. Then go ahead and write your paper, right? So remember that. Develop your thesis, research your topic, revise your thesis. I've said that for all three. We need to make sure we're doing that because oftentimes when we get into our research, we notice, hey, I need to change my assertion a little bit, or I need to change my main points a little bit, or I need to change this word or that word. That's the point of the revision, okay? To make sure that thesis is as tight and as good as it can be. But once you start writing that paper, it's the same essay structure that we've talked about for every other paper. You got that introduction that starts with a draw, that first sentence or two that's drawing the reader in. Then you go into the background information, just briefly, just introducing us to your topic, and then the last sentence in your introduction is that thesis statement. That statement, that one sentence that introduces the topic, the assertion, the claim, whatever it is you're going to prove, as it were, and your three main points. A lot of you are getting very good at these thesis statements, and I'm proud of you. Some of you are still struggling a little bit. It's okay. Let's just keep working on it, okay? That thesis statement is the backbone of your paper. We've got to make sure we get it right. Then your three main body paragraphs. Each main body paragraph should have a topic sentence, which is the first sentence, which introduces the main point. Then you follow that topic sentence with all the evidences based on your research that you're going to present in support of that main point. And then if you need to deal with any rebuttals, you do that. And then your fifth paragraph, your final paragraph, is your conclusion, where you restate your thesis, you restate your main points, and you talk about your next steps. Okay? Simple. This is what we've been doing the whole time. But we need to continue doing it. All right? All right. So there we go. Introduction, three main body paragraphs, and conclusion. All right. If you have any questions or problems with arguments of causation, just give me a buzz on my phone, or write me an email, whatever you need to do. Text me. I'm here to help you in any way that I can. But what I don't want you to do is just sit around confused, going, I have no idea what he's talking about. Right? If that's where you are, or you just have a question about something that I've said, reach out. I am here for you. Okay? Removing I, let me just say this. In academic writing, we want to avoid the first and second persons as much as we can. Every now and then we might have to put an I, we, and us, or, interesting. Second person. Yeah, I said first and second person. Sorry about that. Gone over these notes a million times, and sometimes you still forget what you wrote. Again, in academic writing, we want to avoid the first and second person. That's the I's, the we's, the us's, and the you's in our writing, right? And we'll talk about why in a minute. But we don't want to write like we're writing a letter to a friend. In academic writing, that's not what we're doing. When we write letters to friends and family, we say I and we and us and you. But in academic writing, we want to avoid that as much as possible. We always want to try to write in the third person, where we're kind of an objective third party standing outside the situation a little bit and talking in terms of he, she, them, etc. Okay, now why do we want to do this? Because first and second persons leave the impression of subjectivity, that we're not being objective observers of whatever we're talking about, but that we've got vested interests in it. Now, we probably do have vested interests in whatever we're writing about, but we want our readers to see us as the scientist, as the one standing outside the experiment, doing the experiment, observing the experiment and the data, and making objective and drawing objective conclusions and making objective statements. And that's what third person does for us. It gives our reader more an impression that we're more objective. Okay, that's why we write in third person. Because in academic writing, we are striving for objectivity. All right, we are striving for objectivity, which is why we prefer that third person. Okay, so that's why we remove I. That's why we don't write in first and second person, but do write in third person. Example. You say, how do I do that? It's pretty easy to go from first or second person statement to a third person statement. Let me show you a couple of examples. Here's a first person statement. I believe the national debt crisis is one of the most pressing issues facing America today. How do I make that third person? The national debt crisis is one of the most pressing issues facing America today. I just took off the I believe. Oftentimes it's that simple. All right? Don't say I believe. Just say the national debt crisis is one of the most pressing issues facing America today. Similarly, if we're in a second person statement like, the national debt crisis is bad when most Americans carry in excess of $2,000 on their credit cards. How do I change that? One evidence of the national debt crisis is that most Americans carry in excess of $2,000 on their credit cards. You see how I changed that? From to one evidence of the national debt crisis. All right? So, very simple. I tweaked some other simple words in there, but you can see how I quickly and easily morphed that second person statement into a third person statement. Okay? So, I want you to rewrite each of these sentences in the third person. I want you to pause. I'll go ahead and put them all up here. And then I want you to pause this recording, do this exercise, write each of these four sentences, take them from the first or second person that they're in, and rewrite them in third person. Okay, so the first one, I cannot believe that we've seen so many natural disasters this year. So rewrite that first person into third person. Number two, you're going to know things are bad in America when our major universities start to close their doors. That's a second person statement. Write it in third person. Number three, one of the things I've always said is that once the family breaks down, America will break down. First person statement, change it to third. And then finally, number four, you and I both know that abortion is a hot topic in America today, and it divides us along so many fronts. That's a first and second person statement. Change it to a third person statement. Go ahead and do that. And pause the recording, and then play again when you're ready. Okay, I hope you did this exercise. First one there. I cannot believe that we've seen so many natural disasters this year. There have been many natural disasters this year. That's all I have to do. There have been many natural disasters this year. As long as now that's the way I would rewrite it, but you might rewrite it differently. It's fine as long as you don't have the I and the we in there. Some people forget the we. You got it. That's the first person. That's first person plural. Make sure you take that out. Okay, for statement number two, you're going to know that things are bad in America when major universities start to close their doors. How would you change it? Things are bad in America when major universities start to close their doors. You see that? I just took off the first part, the first phrase. You are going to know. You're going to know. I took that off. Boom. Now we've got a third person statement. All right, number 3. Again, you can have something different, doesn't matter, as long as you don't have the you in there. All right, number 3. One of the things I've always said is that once the family breaks down, America will break down. Again, same as the last one. Just take off that first clause or phrase and just say, once the family breaks down, America will break down. That's the easiest way to make this into third person. Okay? Notice how these statements are also more authoritative. When you say, I can't believe, or you're going to know, or one of the things I've always said. Once you take those kind of statements off and you just say, once the family breaks down, America will break down. It's more authoritative. It sounds like you have more confidence in what you're saying. And we want that too in our academic writing. We want people to have confidence in what we're saying. Okay, finally, number 4. You and I both know that abortion is a hot topic issue in America today, and it divides us along so many fronts. Got to take all those first and second person subjects and direct objects out, and I would say that abortion is a hot topic issue in America today and divides America along so many fronts. Notice I took the you and I out at the beginning, and I also took the us out after the word divides, right? Make that us is a first person plural, so we got to make sure we get that as well. So, abortion is a hot topic issue in America today and divides Americans along so many fronts. Okay? Again, your sentences may have been a little different, but you get the idea, I hope. If you don't, let me know. Shoot me an email, call me, text me. All right, so that's removing I. That's writing in the third person. Finally, description. All right, description. Being able to describe things is a skill that every writer needs to have, and every writer needs to hone in their in their writing life, as it were. All right, you got to be able to describe things. Details are so key in writing because remember, your readers typically can't see what it is you're talking about, so you've got to have words that are descriptive enough and details that are numerous enough for people to understand whatever it is you're saying, right? So details are key. And description can be a lot of things. You can give physical descriptions of things, ideological descriptions of things, philosophical descriptions of things, emotional descriptions of things, spiritual descriptions of things, and metaphorical descriptions of things. And on this term, this idea of metaphor, I want you to follow a principle that I learned in my MFA program, my Master of Fine Arts program in poetry, where they told us as poets, we need to follow the principle of show, don't tell. It's better if I can show somebody something in their mind's eye using metaphor and imagery, simile, and all the different types of figurative language in such a way that the reader has a picture in his or her mind's eye of what it is I'm talking about, rather than just a description of me telling them something, right? So I want to show, don't tell. For example, here's a statement that's telling people something about detail. It's saying the dog's fur was black with a white spot under his neck. Now, that's a fine description of something. There's nothing wrong with that description. It's grammatically correct, etc., etc., etc. And I kind of get a picture in my mind of this, black dog with this white spot under his neck. And again, that's a fine description of things. But look at the second showing description. All right? I've just told you what the dog looks like in the first one. Now let me show you what the dog looks like. The dog was as dark as an Alaskan night sky. His furred canvas muted beneath his chin, a patch of light in an otherwise darkened world. Whoa, right? Now, it's not just black fur. It's extremely black fur. Dark black fur, like an Alaskan night sky. If you've ever been out in the night sky under Alaska or a really dark place in a rural area, you know what I'm talking about. It's pitch black. So I have no doubt, right, that dog's fur is pitch black. It's not an off black. It's not a gray. It is black, right? And his furred canvas muted beneath his chin. So it's like, oh, okay, he's a canvas. He's a piece of art, a patch of light, right? Light fur in an otherwise darkened world. Now, you might say, that's a little too poetic for me. Okay, I'll give you that. But do you see how I'm showing the reader? This is a dramatic example, yes. But do you see how I'm showing the reader, not telling the reader? I'm showing the reader this dark fur and this white patch instead of just telling them about it. The second statement, whether you like it or not, is much more descriptive, much more interesting, much more captivating than the first. And in our writing, we want to captivate our readers. And so I would encourage you, now you don't have to be poetic like that, but I would encourage you as much as you can to use figurative language, use metaphor, use simile to describe things so that your readers are not bored and so it's more interesting and so it also shows your reader better than mere telling does. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Again, when I tell you to, I want you to pause this recording and I want you to describe the following in a paragraph. I want you to do these things. I'll go ahead and put them up here. First, I want you to give a physical description of your current vehicle, whether it's a bike, a car, a truck, whatever it is. Give a physical description of it. Then, I want you to describe how you felt when you graduated high school. If you haven't graduated high school yet, just how did you feel when you moved up to high school, all right? When you moved from middle school to high school, how did you feel? And then finally, describe the most exciting thing that has ever happened to you using metaphor. Just think of that really exciting thing that happened to you and then write about it, okay? Go ahead and pause. Come back when you're done. Okay, so I'm obviously not going to go through these because I don't know what your vehicle looks like, but look at your physical description of your current vehicle. Are you using figurative language? Are you just telling or are you showing? Look at your description of how you felt when you graduated high school or when you moved from middle school to high school. How'd you make you feel? Are you showing me that or are you just telling me? And then finally, your description of the most exciting thing that ever happened in your life using metaphor. What metaphors did you use, right? What metaphors did you use? If you don't know what a metaphor is, look it up on Google, get some descriptions. It's pretty easy, right? It's a comparison not using like or as. It's what I did in that example a minute ago, right? The dog is as dark as Alaskan. Well, actually, that has as and it doesn't. His furred canvas muted beneath his chin, a patch of light in otherwise darkened world. That furred canvas muted beneath his chin, a patch of light in an otherwise darkened world. That's a metaphor, okay? It's a metaphor. It's figurative language. All right, folks, that is the week 11 lecture. If there's anything you don't understand, I need you to reach out to me. Let me know. I'm here for you. Remember, this week is chapter 11. Read chapter 11. This week is also discussion board number 3. The discussion boards in this class are pretty easy. Just write your thread by, I think I say Thursday of this week. So Thursday or Friday of this week. I'm not sure which. I forget without looking back at my own notes. Let me look here real quick. You know what? I've got my syllabus right here in front of me. I hope you have yours. Let's look at it together here. And let's see what our discussion boards need to look like. All right, discussion boards. Instructions are posted on it. All right, well, I don't have it in the syllabus. So there you go. I'm disorganized, aren't I? Okay, anyway. You know what? If you have it in by Friday of this week, you're good. Whatever it says. It's either Thursday or Friday, but I'm fine if you have it in by Friday. Make sure your thread is posted by Friday. Make sure that your reply to your peers is then posted by Sunday. Okay, so one reply to your peers, so you do your thread by Friday, your one reply by Sunday, and you will have completed, finitoed this discussion board. Okay, and you will be good to go, folks. I'm having a blast this semester. I hope you all see in the way I do these lectures and the way I respond to you in emails, I'm a regular guy. I'm just in this life to partner with you and help you learn how to write a little bit better. I'm not a wise man on a mountaintop. I'm not somebody who's aloof, who thinks he's better than anybody else. I have no reason to think that I'm better than anybody else. But even if I did, I'm not that type of person. I'm just one of you. All right, I'm a little bit older, probably in most cases. I'm a little bit more experienced in most cases, in life and in writing, etc. But I'm a human being, just like you, negotiating life, just like you, trying to make my way in this world, just like you, and trying to do my best to leave a mark and leave a legacy. So, when you reach out to me, just know that I care about you. I care about your success, and I don't think anything negative of anyone. I'm just here to help. Okay, that's me. That's Mark Tinsley. I approve this message, and I hope you have a great week. Don't forget to vote if you haven't already. That is your right and your responsibility, and I hope that you do that this week. Okay, if you haven't already. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.